All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to our final act of the show. So we're actually going to try something new. We're not getting rid of our topic of the week, but we're going to have something that, per episode as a recurring feature temporarily replaces our topic of the week. We have a couple of different segments where kind of beta testing, pilot testing, if you would. And this is one of them, one of the many that we have prepared that we wanted to test out. It's a brand new series called The Best and the Worst. And this is a new segment where we pick a long-running video game or possibly movie series, and we go around kind of like a round table type thing, and we discuss which is our favorite entry in said series and our least favorite entry in said series. So for the series that we chose for this segment, this go-around, is the Batman Arkham series. So before we before we go, do you guys just want to count the main series, or are we going to count the other
main
games?
Series.
Okay, so not...
yeah, we're not counting Blackgate.
Blackgate or those mobile games. Okay. So just the main series. That's Arkham Asylum, City, Origins, and Night.
We aren't going to touch on Night just as a kind of thing because Spoilercast is being recorded on Friday of this week. This will be the day after we record it, but we're going to record Spoilercast, so we're not going to talk about big plot points as well because we're going to leave the juicy stuff for that.
Yeah, we won't be doing that. We're just going to kind of give our general...
The Arkham Knight is fucky.
Oh, God. That's right, folks. Crossover. I guess if you guys don't mind, could I go first, if that's cool?
Knock yourself out.
All right, nice. Well, I don't want to, because then it'll just indefinitely record. Stupid joke, sorry. So between these four titles... I could say without a doubt my favorite entry in the Arkham series is Arkham Asylum. It's Asylum for me. It was just a very interesting take on. They basically combined two different aspects from two different things that I really liked, and it happened to be Batman at the same time. It's basically Batman in like a Die Hard type situation where he's trapped on this thing, the odds are against him. He's sneaking around.
He's in the Devil's Playground.
Yeah, just like how Bruce Willis was stuck with all those terrorists in Nakatomi Plaza. It's the same thing. He's in Arkham Asylum. He's stuck with all these people. His greatest villains. It was just such a really good take on Batman, and just the superhero video game genre in general that we had not seen before. Like, everyone kind of wrote off Arkham Asylum, and then it came out out of nowhere, just kind of kicked ass. Like, people were like, this game's amazing. And on top of that, it's basically like the best 3D version of a Metroidvania style game as well, in my opinion, because they got that whole concept of, I can't get there yet, I gotta get an item for that, and then you get it, and it's like, oh man, like, this is awesome. Like, you felt so cool near the end of the game when you could virtually explore the entire Arkham Island with all the stuff. So I just thought that was such a really great take. And it's one of those things where you could take away the fact that it's Batman and replace it with something else, and I feel like the game would still be really good. Like, I really think it would still be an interesting game if you, replace those elements with interesting things. But, it just so happened also to be a Batman game that really utilized him well. I mean, I remember I didn't even know about the game, and a friend of mine bought it, and he told me, dude, look, this is my pitch to you. You feel like Batman. And I'm like, that's awesome. And I played it, and I'm like, I am the Batman. I am vengeance. I am the knight, I felt so cool after it. So that's definitely my favorite one.
I'm going to merge my discussion with yours.
Okay.
Because we're a little bit similar. So yeah, Arkham Asylum is my favourite as well. I think it's very linear. I think it's quite straightforward. It gets to the point. The setup is just so fast and on point. It's like, what? He's captured the Joker. The Joker's planned this all along, and we're not like Arkham Asylum with all of Batman's arch nemesis. So you're not going to just be facing the Joker. You'll be facing a dozen other characters.
Right.
there were some great moments. As you said, you feel like Batman, the Predator challenges, well, not Predator challenges, but more being like, the stealth parts of the game were great.
Right.
The combat was fluid, and it's always what people want with an Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah.
There were just like some fantastic moments. One of the parts where Scarecrow freezes your game and it resets.
Oh, that was such a great part.
And you become the Joker, and Batman's on the chair whilst getting dragged into Arkham Asylum.
I have a funny story. That happened to the same friend that had recommended the game. He brought his Xbox to a friend of ours, like a mutual friend, like we're both friends with, and he was playing it. And when that happened, he thought his Xbox crashed. And he actually, and I'm not kidding, he turned it off. And then he played it again, and it crashed again. And he turned it off again. That
reminds me of one of my friends was like, do you know when Colonel Campbell calls you MGS2? He's like, Ryan, switch off the console. One of my friends switched it off.
No, dude!
he switched off midway. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, you told me to turn off the console. I was like, he's telling you to turn off the console. You don't have to do it yourself, you moron.
Kojima did it!
He actually went and did that. I was just like, oh, wow, are you kidding me?
That's so funny.
But yeah, I just like how it crackles and this, like, breaks inside. It's such a great thing. I even love, I just love the fact that when you're doing that, the other villains are, like, kind of messing with you at the same time.
Right.
Like, on the way to get the Joker, you meet the Scarecrow and you meet Killer Croc. And, to get to Joker, you have to go into Killer Croc's lair.
Yeah.
And it's just, the kind of things, you meet these villains. It's not like the other games where you kind of, these villains become side objectives almost.
Yeah.
In meeting them. They are kind of part of the story. You'll meet them. You'll interact with them.
You know what, also, it's something you just, had me kind of get a little epiphany here. The game also, you feel so claustrophobic, because you're stuck on this, one location. It's not like the later installments where you kind of, go places and you're flying around everywhere and shit like that. This is, you're in one area, and all of your worst villains are on that place. So, when you're in Croc's lair, you're shitting bricks, because, you have to walk and you have to be cautious, and, you're just like, oh my god, what's going to happen? And it's classic, man. It's really classic how they utilize this so well.
And even have Bane in this game as well. The fire rises.
Yeah, a pre Dark Knight Rises Bane. This was they had reinvented Bane in their own style, because that was before, that was 2009, I believe. So it was before Dark Knight Rises.
Anything
else, or oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the final battle was a little bit underwhelming.
Yeah,
I felt like
it's probably the worst. Yeah, it's the worst part of Asylum, definitely.
Yeah, and there were just a few
Hulk Joker. It's such a stupid idea.
Oh yeah, just so stupid. But yeah, it was pretty solid. It was there's my favorite.
Alan, since is by any chance, do you want to add to Asylum? Is that your favorite, or do you want to?
Yeah, it is my favorite.
Okay, that's awesome. All three of our favorites is Asylum.
Very strange as well. Most people like City more.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, Alan. Go ahead. Did you want to add to it?
It felt like I was playing Batman the Animated Series, the game.
Yes.
Because it was written by Paul Dini.
Mm-hmm.
They had the original actress who played Harley Quinn from the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
And they had Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill.
No, it's a dream scene.
It was like a grown-up version of the animated series. It had grown up to us. We had grown up, and so did the series with us, with Asylum.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that.
It was really cool. But yeah, that is Alan does make a good point. Asylum is actually the only game that Arlene Sorkin, is that her name?
Yeah, that's her name.
Yeah, that she was the voice actor of Harley Quinn in the series. That's the only game that she voiced Harley Quinn.
Ever since then, it's been Tara Strong.
Yeah, Tara Strong, who I think, with the exception of Arkham Knight, she did a really excellent job in Arkham City. I mean, it was almost near perfect to Arlene, but obviously, the original cast will always be the best in my opinion.
Yeah.
Very interesting that we all thought that, because it is definitely, like Adnan said, Arkham City is usually the one that people say is the best one. So that's interesting. We all kind of liked Asylum for our own reasons.
With that stunning Game of the Year edition.
Oh God, that cover. Disgusting.
That cover.
Well, going back to me. My least favorite in the series, and when I say this, I don't mean the game's crap. I like all 4 games, for the record. I think they're all fantastic games in their own way. But my least favorite in the series would probably be Arkham Origins. And the only reason Arkham Origins is my least favorite is it felt more almost like an expansion pack to Arkham City, in the sense of, it had some cool ideas like, constructing the crime scenes and things like that. But it like the location was just reusing assets from Arkham City, except I think they expanded it a little bit. There's areas that you couldn't go into or you couldn't even access in Arkham City that they expanded for Origins. But for the most part, I mean, the boss battles were pretty damn cool. I have to give Warner Brothers Games Montreal credit for that one. And in general, the game was, it was kind of like a spur of the moment type game. They realized Night was going to take a long time to develop, and they didn't want people to have to wait such a long time in between titles. So they made this game, and for what it's worth, it was a good game. But I think if you're comparing it to all 4, it's definitely the weakest of all 4, only in the sense that it doesn't really push to do anything major, like genre defining. The second game.
Well, I hate to interrupt you, Chris,
sure.
but I will.
Okay.
He's being Kanye West.
For the record, Beyonce had the best hit of all time. In regards to Warner Brothers Montreal, they did redeem themselves with Shadow Mordor.
I've never played it, actually, but I've heard really great things.
It's mature. It's basically a mature Arkham Origins.
That's interesting. I would assume they learn from their experiences in Arkham Origins.
The same combat system, except with swords.
That's interesting. But going back to what I'm saying, I mean, like what Alan just pointed out, they're not a bad developer, because Arkham Origins is still a fun game. I think it was the time and place, to be honest, like what they were asked to do at the time they were asked to do. And with the time they had devoted to themselves, because I'm sure whatever the hell the next game in the series is, I'm fairly certain they'll probably develop it. And if they do develop it, I'm sure it'll probably be a fantastic game, that is worthy of the Arkham title. But, as is, I have to say Origins is probably my least favorite, just because of that. And that's my best and worst. I guess, Adnan, do you want to go next with your worst?
It's the same. It's Origins.
Wait, hold on. Before we continue, is Origins everyone's least or no?
Yeah.
Let's end this podcast.
We're just completely on. All right, you guys take it away then, because I've said my piece.
I thought we'd have different choices, but Jesus Christ,
we're just all
this is not even pre-rehearsed. I can't believe this.
That's pretty funny though.
Yeah, Origins isn't that brilliant. It had frame rate issues. I love the concept though. I just love the fact that all of Batman's greatest, Batman, like the most deadly assassins in the world, are kind of uniting to take Batman down.
Right.
It personifies that image of Batman, that he is almost Superman level. It takes these kind of they have to hire all these people together. And it did have a really great diverse set of characters and everything else, but I think it just kind of tripped itself. I think the big one was it Roman, what's he called? Black Mask?
Roman Sionis.
Right.
Sionis, that's it, yeah. Roman Sionis, his story arc was really interesting. It's it's the spoiler, it's the Joker. I'm oh. I was a little bit oh. I was just a little bit underwhelmed by that. I was obviously Joker has to appear in this, but I was just kind of a bit fizzled out by it. And I think they didn't really build on the Oracle story either, as much as I would like to. The Barbara Gordon story was there, but it was kind of tip and tap. I thought it would actually kind of get to a bit further in the actual story, but they didn't actually get that far. But I did love it. I had some great moments. I love how Batman takes other people's weapons. I love how he has the electric shock. Is it Knuckles?
Oh, yeah. The gauntlet things? Yeah.
Yeah. I love how he has those, and like how he takes them. I love the Deathstroke fight. Oh, that's such a great fight.
That was a really good fight.
Yeah, it's such a great fight. Well, I just love the kind of like opening where they're both standing across each other and like kind of like, I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool. How early it happens in the game, it's like, damn. But yeah, it just kind of tripped itself. I think the main lacking thing for me, I like the detective mode, which was like the furthering detective mode where you kind of like investigate crimes. I just feel like it didn't really innovate that much beyond what it was. I think it was just kind of like, I think we talked about this on podcast, it's almost like a DLC expansion to Arkham City, or the Ground Zeroes of like a game. Like, it just felt like kind of a sampler of like what it was. Like, I expect like when games to go in the next direction of the series, I expect evolution, advancement, a change in dynamic. I just felt like I was playing Arkham Asylum and Arkham City.
Yeah. Which, again, I think it was just, like, the fact that they were called in almost last minute. Like, hey, we need a game because they're going to release theirs in, like, 2015 or whatever. Like, we need one now, It was, like, that kind of situation.
It's not a good thing to do, but you can't really stop Warner Bros.
Yeah,
really.
No. Publisher of the year.
Publisher of the year. But, yeah, it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable. It's not a bad game, but it was nowhere near on the expectations set by Rocksteady and just
Agreed.
like the quality.
Yeah, definitely agreed. So yeah, any last thoughts, Alan? Because we we all apparently have the same. That's pretty funny. We all have the same thing. But any thoughts you want to add to Origins?
I kind of like, despite not liking it that much.
Mm-hmm.
One of the few things I did like was that it was an origin story for the Joker.
That was cool, yeah.
Like the scene where he's brought into Arkham and Harley comes in.
Yeah.
Harleen.
Right. And that whole sequence with where he was Red Hood, right?
Yeah.
That was really, yeah, I agree with that. That was a pretty badass moment. But, yeah, cool. All right, well, and
he talks about how he found his person, and the person and Batman shows up.
Yeah, and sets it straight, god damn it. No, but he really, like, Batman comes, and you see that obsession, and where it goes from there.
Yeah.
It was definitely, I think, one of the more underrated parts of the game, and it was done very well. Like, that moment where he's, like, imagining his head, you're like, man, the Joker is batshit crazy. Like, you really get afraid of how crazy he is.
They build him up. I think that it's that part where he links Bane with
oh yeah,
where you have to kill Bane to save Christian Gordon.
Yeah,
I just love that part, that how early they get into the game, they kind of like point out that Joker knows what Batman's philosophy is.
Yeah.
His cardinal rule, never to break that rule, and then the Joker's ready to test it, see where it goes.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. I think kudos to Roger Craig Smith as Batman.
Yeah, he was pretty. I think a lot of praise was given to our Baker boy, our boy Baker.
Baker boy.
No, really, because look, to give credit where credit is due, Troy did an excellent job trying to live up to that name that Mark Hamill has put out there. But I agree with Adnan. I think Roger Craig Smith. I mean, that guy is actually a very vibrant voice actor. I mean, he could play Ezio, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Batman. That's pretty crazy,
There's a funny joke I read as well a few days ago. When Troy Baker said that he doesn't know anything about The Last of Us 2. Mm-hmm. So when no one after that The Last of Us 2 is happening, Troy Baker said he doesn't know anything about it. Someone put in the comments, Troy Baker's already recorded the voice for The Last of Us 2, but he's doing so many projects that he's forgotten he's recorded the voice. So he can't confirm that he's done it. I was absolutely in tears when I read that comment. I was like, that's the best comment I've seen of the year.
It's so on point, though, dude. It's so on point.
So on point. But back to the actual thing, I do like Troy Baker's Joker, like the masking of the Joker voice that he does. I think Roger Craig Smith is really... I think for the Batman that he's portraying, it does really well. Mm-hmm. I do think there's a really funny scene when Alfred's crushed under all those rocks. He somehow survived. I just sat there like, how the fuck is this ancient butler survived getting crushed by rocks.
The plot twist is he is a member of Slipknot, so he just has those abilities of survival.
He's
Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but in the comics, Alfred got his hand chopped off by the Joker.
I didn't know that. Holy shit.
Yes.
And his granddaughter comes in to be like the new Alfred.
That's interesting. Damn, I didn't know. And that's currently in the New 52?
And the DCYOU.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
The New 52 is over.
Oh, right, yeah, whatever, that's a whole nother topic.
All different, all new.
Yeah, all different, all new.
Which I stole for the DualShock show return.
Alright, well, I think we've kind of reached our conclusion. Go ahead and take us home, Adnan.
Take some.
The paradise city with the grass is green.
Hey.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Where the grass is blue and the girls are ugly. I saved us. Ha ha! They won't get us now, those bastards.
Oh god, YouTube's going to fly us down far. But that's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow the Gamer Headline Show on Twitter at TGH Show, or like our Facebook page, the Gamer Headline Show, for up-to-date episodes from Gamer Headline's official podcast. Additionally, the Gamer Headline Show can now be found on... Why did I say now? Can be found on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, or at gamerheadlines.com to find this podcast. So that's it for this week's episode. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we hope you stay tuned for Spoilercast this week, which will be up on Friday? Yeah, Friday, I'm going to say. So take care, guys. See you later.
Take care, guys.
Bye.